Brett Hassel with those long arms, but as I mentioned, played briefly the other night as Flip Saunders went to Wally Serbiak early on.
You see Minnesota up, meeting the basketball, trying to prevent them getting down below the foul line. Down below the foul line is where you feed low post people from. So the more time they take off the clock, the less time Shaquille O'Neal has to operate in the post.
Gary Payton has scored all but one of his field goals in the first half of this series. You see Kobe on the back cut. But Payton has gotten off to quick starts. He's 1 of 10 after the first period in these first two games.
And Phil Jackson has mentioned on several occasions they like to get Payton off early, as if to encourage him to keep his head in the game. And they try to set him up early. He hit his first shot. Let's see where that leads. Bryant started on a post-up and then came out. Malone, that went through the hands of O'Neal. The pass off the mark. Here is Cassell for three. Sam Cassell able to knock down his first attempt.
And now they ask him to go right back and pressure the basketball. Sure, you can make the three, but if you want us to play the same way, you got to get up and pressure the ball.
Had been 3 for his last 20 from 3. His legs had been affected by that bad hip.
Malone with the rainbow.
Does that have to be a huge relief for Karl Malone? Because at least now he's got that confidence back that perhaps he can shoot the ball as he did in game number 1. He was a nightmare shooting it in game number 2.
He got himself in early foul trouble. Just 2 of 5 from the field. Garnett had it slapped away. Last touch by O'Neal, so Minnesota maintains possession.
Doug, do you expect the physicalness of this game to be called any differently because of what happened last game, at the end of the last game, the old technical fouls?
We see Cassell spotting up here, and I do, yes. You know, Mike, these referees get together and they talk about what had happened the game before. We can't let anything get started here early. This is too important of a game, and you have 3 very quality officials on here. They will have their eye on everything early in this game.
Wright did not use the screen. Now Payton. Payton from downtown, and the game is tied at 9.
He just looks better shooting the ball tonight for some reason to me. The rotation is nice. He's got a little bit of lift on the ball right now. He looks very comfortable shooting from the perimeter tonight.
So the Lakers have hit their first 4 shots, and the T-Wolves 4 of 5 from the field. And last touch by O'Neal. He thought it was deflected out by Johnson.
Now, Irvin Johnson in game 2, he and Mark Madsen gave them a great lift off the bench. The big men used 15 fouls against Shaq, but Irvin Johnson, Madsen got 13 points. If you get 13 out of those 2 guys, that is a great sign for Minnesota.
And an oddity, Irvin Johnson, a guy who actually prefers coming off the bench, but because of the injury suffered by Michael Olowokandi, found himself in the starting lineup. That's an offensive foul. And you know, Phil Jackson likes that call. He had a mild complaint after the game the other night that Garnett went the entire game without a foul call. He had 2 called in game 1, but both were late.
Well, subtle little messages. He also talked about Minnesota's back screening, how hard their back screens were. We'll see if we see any of those calls tonight, too. Phil likes to do that in the media during the playoffs.
A beautiful pass from Malone, but George could not score.
One thing he's done is he's stayed with George. He very easily could have made a substitution here, gone with different rotations, could have put Kobe Bryant at the small forward position or Rick Fox instead. He has stayed with George. He likes his defense, likes his rebounding ability. He's hoping he'll bust out offensively.
All right, Lakers almost able to pick it off, and now Malone with the rebound. And here's the outlet. Payton on the fast break. Beautiful pass by Malone.
Well, Sprewell missed a shot from the corner, and Cassell was buried underneath the basket. No one to protect back. We saw the Lakers in game 1 leak out 3 times like that early.
Cassell, and the game is tied at 11. Fast start for Sam Cassell. He's hit his first 3 shots. He has 7 points. Now Payton backing his way on Cassell and draws the foul. It's on Sam.
Almost a little payback there. Remember, these guys were teammates last year in Milwaukee. Sam Cassell scores, and Gary Payton comes back and he says, you know what, I'm going to get down on that baseline where I like to operate. Problem is he was on the wrong side of the floor. He loves the other side of the floor, and you can see him trying to back down. And Kevin Garnett's so afraid to leave Malone there because he made that jump shot. He kept him honest and allowed Payton room to work.
Lakers and T-Wolves tied at 11. Here is Kevin George. Rebounded by Malone. And Garnett comes away with it.
You saw the length of Garnett intimidate Malone on that shot.
Garnett able to sweep by O'Neal. What a beautiful play, protecting the ball. Shaq was looking for the rejection.
He's such a tough cover because you can play him in so many different spots on the floor. You can't gear your defense to stop him in just one area.
Sprewell came from the blind side to knock it away from O'Neal. Cassell picked up on the switch, played by George. Here's Cassell. So the ball back to the Lakers.
Flip Saunders just yelled out to Sam, move the basketball. And you can see Sam talking to him right now. Sam is trying to get off to a good start, but not at the expense of the rest of his team now. He has to make sure he gets everybody involved.
Sam trying to show himself and everyone else that he's all right. And he did hit his first 3 shots. O'Neal. He was expecting some contact. And a foul is called. Shaq working his way in on Johnson, and Irvin Johnson picked up the foul.
This is one of the areas of concern of Flip Saunders. He said Shaq had 4 offensive rebounds for stickbacks against us in game 1 because we went for the shot block. We went with the wrong hand to try to block the shot. We got ourselves out of position. Shaq had a clean run to the basket. We saw it here in the same possession. They're going to have to adjust on that, not give him second shots.
The 2004 Western Conference Finals on TNT are being brought to you by Coors Light. Unleash the Rocky Mountain cold taste of Coors Light. By Dodge, you can take life as it comes. You can grab life by the horns. By Universal Pictures, The Chronicles of Riddick, in theaters June 11th. And by Carrier Heating and Cooling. Turn to the experts. Welcome back to Staples in L.A. as we check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Karl Malone walked into the arena wearing Army fatigues tonight, and this hat given to him from country singer Neil McCoy from Operation Iraqi Freedom. No analogies of combat, simply told his teammates, I'm in a serious mood tonight. Even left the layup line to congratulate Gunnery Sergeants Neil Popovich and also Tim Tompkins for everything the U.S. troops are doing. He said, guys, I'm proud to be an American. Joe?
Well, Craig, so far, Sam Cassell off to a good start mobility-wise. He was out an hour and a half before the game warming up, which was a very positive sign. Now, you got to give a lot of credit to Minnesota's trainer Greg Farnham, along with the usual treatments of icing and heat packs and electrical stim. He's also used a steady routine of stretching, muscle-relaxing techniques to keep Cassell loose, guys.
All right, and Sam Cassell off to a good start. He's hit 3 of 4 from the field, including 1 from downtown. Here's Payton over Cassell, and at the other end, Gary Payton with 9 points. He has scored the last 7 for the Lakers.
Doug, he continues to play off of your statement before the first quarters are Gary Payton quarters for some reason.
Game tied at 13, just under 6 remaining in this opening quarter. Garnett. And the rebound handled by O'Neal.
Kobe still has not taken a shot, letting everybody else get involved in the game, especially this guy, Gary Payton. Looks like Kobe just sort of taking his time to work himself into the game.
Shot number 5 for Payton. He hit his first 4. This is game 3 of this best of 7. Game 4 here on Thursday night. We'll have it for you on TNT starting 9 o'clock Eastern time. Garnett with an off-balance attempt. And Shaq controlling the boards.
Garnett is so concerned about Malone getting a piece of the ball on the way up. He almost rushes sometimes to avoid Karl Malone's hands. Basically, he could just jump over Malone if he could just clear his hands.
Well, Kobe's got in the air 2 or 3 times and lost control of the basketball, looking to make the pass.
Cassell try to find Garnett on the hop. Here comes Bryant. O'Neal had it knocked away by Sprewell. Sprewell met by Payton. Sprewell looking for help. Sprewell taking to the rim. Sprewell is blocked. Shot on the rejection. Sloppy play at both ends. Payton. Harry Payton's had the touch.
I think the Lakers' intentions are very good. Their execution is not, however. The pass is just a little bit behind. They want to get Shaquille involved. It's just that they haven't thrown real good passes for him to handle.
It reminds me of an all-star game where you try to make the extra pass when you should just take the shot when it's there.
Another Timberwolves turnover. Lakers in possession. They lead by 2, just under 4 minutes remaining in the first. Again, the open shot for Payton. Another 3 for Payton, on fire here at the start. 6 for 7. He has 14 points, and Flip Saunders wants to talk it over.
There was a definite message here by Minnesota. Kobe, you're not beating us. Shaq, we're going to try to stop you. This guy, you can have a lot of shots if you want right now until you convince us you can make them.
We all got to just adjust. When everybody started to play well, everybody say, well, we break out of it. If we're not playing well, the triangle is not fitting. I just go along with everything. You know, we just try to get wins as much as possible. Right now, we're just playing. You know, we're playing within our system. If we don't have any runs or we don't have any fast breaks, we'll get into the triangle and we'll try to make it work.
Well, only 6 possessions of the triangle, Flip Saunders told us in game 1. More screen roll, more little post-up, quick action. And Gary Payton's gotten off to a great start. And this is indicative of the way he's played this entire series. In the first quarter of the first 2 games, he had scored 13 points on 4 of 7 shooting. The rest of the game, only 2 points on 1 of 10 shooting. Tonight, off to a great start. And he has been the guy who's made the shots. 8 assists on 8 field goals for the Lakers. The efficiency, once again, is there.
And that is an excellent sign for Los Angeles. They're on a 7-0 run, all 7 points by Payton, who has scored the last 12 now for the Lakers. Derek Fisher hearing the cheers from the crowd as he checks in, coming on for Devin George. Malone able to block it aside, and you can see the Lakers much more aggressive in contrast to what took place on Sunday night.
Well, Martin in to run the team, and Wally Szczerbiak in the game to give them some scoring. So you see when Flip goes to his bench, he makes sure he has enough scoring, but he's got to pick up the level of defense. Right now, way too soft.
Eric Martin has come on for Sam Cassell. Nice move by Kevin Garnett. He has 6 points.
Szczerbiak, game 1, 24 minutes. Game 2, in their big win, 39 minutes. So a decision to go more minutes, finally getting the medical clearance to up the minutes. Flip Saunders goes through in game 2.
Fisher off the penetration. Sprewell overthrows, pass intended for Garnett.
And those are the kinds of turnovers that make you crazy as a coach. You have 1 turnover to start the game in the first 6 minutes. Now in the next 2.5 minutes, 3 more turnovers for Minnesota.
High risk, very little reward on that kind of play, especially on the road.
Sprewell reaching in and called for the foul. Latrell's been very active. He already has 4 steals here in the first quarter. Was looking for number 5 right there.
This to me is a very sedated Laker crowd right now. Perhaps it's the game time for them coming in, but compared to the crowd that was in Minnesota the other night, compared to the crowd that was here during the San Antonio series, this group right now sitting back watching, kind of like waiting to see something real good happen.
Sedated.
Yes.
You saying medically sedated?
I didn't say that. I wish it was one word.
Karl Malone, and the Lakers now lead 20-15.
Well, if he can keep that matchup somewhat even, then the Lakers are going to have a great chance to win this game. Mike, you talked about it in game 1, and then the big difference in game 2.
Nice fake by Garnett. And here comes Bryant, met by Martin. Kobe way off, but O'Neal is there. He's fouled by Johnson.
I'm not sure Johnson anticipated that Kobe was just going to pull up and shoot that one, so he never really got himself in front of Shaq, and Shaq just stood there. The ball came off to him. Had nothing to do but foul him before he could dunk the basketball. It looks like Kobe's trying to set something up. Johnson never gets himself inside of Shaq.
It looked like Kobe came down after he shot that ball and maybe tweaked his right ankle. He's been moving that ankle around here as O'Neal is starting to shoot the free throws. I think Kareem Rush is going to come in the game. What happens sometimes, you take a shot like that and you come down on somebody's foot and tweak it just a little bit, but I think Kobe might come out of the game. It looks like it's going to be Gary Payton. But he was messing with that right ankle after he took that shot.
Gary Payton hearing the cheer, 6 of 7, 14 points. Shaquille O'Neal in game 2, only 6 of 14 from the line. Misses on his first 2. You heard the boos for the one-time LA Clipper, Michael Olowokandi, who just came on for Irvin Johnson after Johnson picked up a second foul. A couple of former Clippers on the floor here for Minnesota, Derek Martin and Olowokandi. Serbiak, shot clock, down to 5, Sprewell for 3. And the good box out by O'Neal. That's rebound number 5 for Shaq. Now Fisher resets and takes a 20-second timeout.
I'll tell you what happened. Kareem Rush got hit in the jaw or in his teeth. He's the one who turned to the bench and asked them to take that timeout. He's going over Gary Vitti, dealing with him right now, but Rush got hit somehow. He's grabbing his jaw, lower jaw. He got hit good, too. You can see he's in pain.
And Kareem Rush has been battling with a sore foot. He's hit some pivotal three-point shots in this series.
You know what goes unnoticed, Marv? In the game the other day that Minnesota won in game 2, Kareem Rush hit a 3 with about a minute to go in the third quarter. That cut that lead that was once about 18 to 7. And then Oliver Miller got a dunk. And remember the shot at 0.4 of a second. Garnett picked up the loose ball, hit a 3. It went from 7 to 12. That little 5-point spurt gave Minnesota a cushion. But Kareem Rush, we saw him hit big shots against the Rockets, and he hit some all season long, and Phil's trying to give him confidence to be able to play when the game is on the line.
And Rick Fox has checked in, replacing Kareem Rush.
Here's Rush playing defense, and as he comes off this, it's that left elbow of Sprewell that catches him right there as Sprewell turns the corner.
Rick Fox has come on. He has seen limited action in the postseason. Beautiful fake by Malone. Karl Malone off the head fake. That's 6 points for Malone.
Well, right on Mike's cue when he talked about Malone needing to have a good game. Obviously, Kobe and Shaq are so vital. This is the glue, the catalyst that keeps his team together on both ends.
Olowokandi with Garnett and Serbiak up front. Martin and Sprewell in the backcourt. Garnett now 3 for 7. It's a 7-point Laker lead, just under 1 minute remaining in the first. Shaquille O'Neal adding to that lead.
No hesitation, you notice, by Shaq tonight at the offensive end. When he gets it, he goes quickly. Baseline, middle of the floor, very decisive in his moves.
Well, Olowokandi didn't catch it way too easily. I mean, that was a pass easily right into the post.
Serbiak, yes. Nice move with Ryan all over him. He was able to step back and release the jumper. 2 for 1 opportunity here with a half minute remaining in this first quarter. Lakers up by 7.
You see Rick Fox on the floor. We didn't think he was going to play tonight when we talked to Phil before the game. He said he had really been struggling, but I guess with the early injuries here.
Nice play by Martin, taking it out of the hands of Fisher, and the foul on Derek Fisher.
You'll see Martin belly up as Fisher swings the ball down low. There's the strip by Martin, which forces the turnover, which in turn brings the foul about. And that was the first personal foul for the Lakers in this quarter.
Well, Minnesota's not a team that goes to the basket much. They're a jump shooting team, and we talk so much in the playoffs. When they get themselves in trouble, they turn the ball over. They don't get to the free throw line. They're down 7 here, and only 1 foul by the Lakers. That means everything is a jump shot.
Luke Walton has come on. Phil Jackson going deep into his roster here in this first quarter. Final seconds of the first. Garnett handling against Malone. Can he get it off? He does. Strong start for the Lakers, who were sparked by Gary Payton. A 7-point Laker lead. Payton with 14 of the Lakers' 24 points, a 13-4 Laker run the last 7 minutes of the first. Well, it's about 20 minutes before 7 here in Southern California. Always a delightful time to be on the freeway as we welcome you back to Staples Center in Los Angeles. Marv Albert, the Czar, Mike Fratello, Doug Collins. Let's check in with Craig Sager who has more on Kareem Rush. Craig?
Well, as we saw Rush taking that elbow from Latrell Sprewell, he went to the locker with Gary Vita, the trainer. Vita called to the stands for Dr. Jeff Hoy, the team dentist, to look at him. He took one look at Rush, took another look, said, "You're okay for tonight, son, but we have a dentist appointment tomorrow."
All right, second quarter is underway. Eric Martin being played by Derek Fisher. Fred Hoiberg has come on for the first time. Gets a down low to Kevin Garnett. Now guarded by Slava Medvedenko with help. Beautiful move by Garnett, spinning his way. So the Lakers now lead 24-19.
A critical stretch of the game now because the benches are in play. And remember, Doug mentioned in the beginning that last game, a 41-14 advantage for Minnesota over the Laker bench.
And this is Kobe Bryant time with Shaq out of the game. He's only taken one shot. Look for him to try to take over their offense here and carry them.
Foul on Martin. Eric Martin out of the Los Angeles area. Derek played his high school ball at St. Anthony's in Long Beach. Played college ball at UCLA. He was with the Bruins and Don McLean and Tracy Murray, Mitchell Butler. Clipper and Globetrotter, played overseas. Out Malone. And rebounded by Hoiberg. So Hoiberg and Martin at the guards with Garnett, Olowokandi, and Serbiak up front for Minnesota. And the call away from the ball, it is on Fox.
To show you how important Karl Malone is to the Lakers. 44 minutes in game one, only 28 minutes because of foul problems in game two. You see him go through the entire first quarter, still on the floor because Kevin Garnett is still on the floor.
And here comes Peyton on the floor with him. Those two guys in the first quarter, 20 of their 24 points. Shaq only had 4. Kobe did not score. These guys carried them. You know that at some point in time, Shaq and Kobe are going to get busy on the offensive end. Garnett gets a little bit of a rest, so let's see how they react to their star being out of the game.
Sam Cassell checks back in. An enthusiastic Mark Matson running over to the scorer's table to come on for Kevin Garnett.
Got to keep up off the offensive boards. Really, that's the only way he can score is if you don't block him off the basket.
Olowokandi is called for the offensive foul as he backed it to Malone.
It may have been called actually for taking his left hand and knocking Malone's hand away, which you are not allowed to do. Let's see if he knocks it away. There you go. He saw the arm come out, knocked it away with the left arm. That's where the offensive foul is called.
First down.
That's sort of been his thing in the playoffs. Every time he draws it, sort of, we're going the other way.
Lakers 24, T-Wolves 19. Here is Peyton for 3. Rebounded by Olowokandi.
Sam looks a little gimpy right now. It looks like as he sat down, he has tightened up. We'll see how effective he is.
Yes, he hobbled his way across that midcourt line. Serbiak lost it. Nice play by Fox. Fisher from Malone. He got crossed up and a traveling violation. The crowd reacted. They were looking for a foul call, but it is steps on Malone.
I used to play with a guy, George McGinnis, who used to come down all the time and almost his foot would come to the floor before he would shoot the ball. Coaches all the time used to complain that he would come down and hit the floor before he would release a shot, and that's exactly what Karl Malone did on that play.
And the outside official, who had the better view, made the call. 2 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Serbia cannot locate a shot. We're down to 3 on the shot clock. Olowokandi has to fire it, and he was stripped. It's a 24-second violation.
What is he doing out there? Between his legs, a little tricky dribble action, and then tries to get up the three-pointer.
He's trying to show the Clippers, look what you got rid of, man. I should have stayed here, but that will not endear himself. Flips Andres, keeps telling his guys, pass the basketball, move the ball.
They try to trap Fisher. Payton and Fisher at the guards now. Malone, Fox, Medvedenko out the front line. Shot clock is down to 3. Here is Malone with much time. Perhaps too much time.
Interesting lineup for the Lakers right now. Both Kobe and Shaq out of the game.
I don't know where the offense comes from, to be honest. If Karl Malone doesn't hit some jump shots for Payton down on the post, that's trouble offensively.
But Minnesota not able to get much going here in the early moments of the second. Lakers have a 5-point advantage. Malone, once again, off the mark.
He's got to be getting a little tired. I mean, he's played so many consecutive minutes, and now he's playing against Mark Madsen, who is perpetual motion.
And a foul was called on Malone. Timeout taken with 8:55 remaining in this first half. Lakers have a 5-point lead.
Freeze! I'm gonna put you in jail for the rest of your life. Why did you kill her? She deserved what she got. You have the right to remain silent.
Why did you lie, Mr. Kamen?
Papa!
Hi, Jason.
Can Jimmy play?
Jimmy! See you, yo.
Where are you going?
Hey, Jimmy! Can you play?
Vince Carter! Dinner! Jason! Lisa Leslie!
Jimmy, can you play?
Who's out there?
All right, Tim, 80,000 all in. Okay, all right. Forget about that. I was just kidding. 72.5. Say no more. Moonroof, extended warranty. Stop me at any time. Titanium wheels package. After that, I mean, if you're cutting into my, which you don't care about. I got nothing else, Tim. Done.
Yes.
Ooh. Did you know you were going 65? Okay, 55.
In recent tests, the all-new Mitsubishi Galant outperformed the Toyota Camry in acceleration and in braking. Now let's see how it stacks up against their free maintenance program. Oh, right. They don't have one. Triple Diamond Days. This month only, get 3 years free scheduled maintenance when you lease an all-new Galant for just $239 a month for 36 months. And as always, get a 10-year warranty on a car you actually want to drive. Hurry, Mitsubishi's Triple Diamond Days end June 1st.
Very nice.
Like all light beers, it's low in carbs. Unlike any other light beer, it's got the great taste of Bud Light. What we have here is a failure to compromise. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here.
Well, perhaps the shift to LA will help the quality of our favorite feature. Tonight's version of Bud Light's Idle Thoughts. You look mad. From the mind of the Czar.
Mark, Doug and I were well aware of the fact that coming into tonight, Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal were tied for the most free throw attempts in playoff history. Well, by Shaq shooting 2 tonight, he has now moved ahead. He's #1 ahead of Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Wilt Chamberlain, and Jerry West. Quite a group.
Why is it always there's 4 to 5 Lakers are in there? I mean, they must have played a lot of playoff games through the years. What do you think?
That was actually pertinent. Although Shaq is shooting 52% from the line, as you see in his postseason career. Sam Cassell now has 9 points, and the Lakers lead 24-21.
Kobe and Shaq back on the floor. The Lakers have not scored this period, so Phil's got to get some offense on the floor.
Here's Fisher. He passed on the 3 and was able to break it down. And again, Sam Cassell hobbling his way up to the midcourt line. Oliver Miller checking in for the first time. Trying to go back door. Hoiberg. Yes. Fred Hoiberg with his first field goal. Lakers 26 and the T-Wolves 23.
Now remember, in game 2, 41 points by the bench. Tonight, that's only the 4th point by the bench.
Medvedenko.
Why do I get the feeling that when Slava gets the first pass, he's also getting the first shot? Just something it seems to go with each night on the floor for Medvedenko.
Now, Slava not shy about firing it up. Here comes Fisher. Fisher and Payton now in the backcourt. Bryant, Medvedenko, O'Neal up front. Medvedenko again.
How about the second time you shoot it, you shoot it as well? Maybe you just do that all the time until the coach takes you out of the game. We saw a quick hook the other night.
Lakers by 7. Here is Cassell for 3. Well, Sam Cassell has had the touch. He's 5 for 6. He continues to struggle as he moves back down court, but he'll hang in despite the sore back and the sore hip. Medvedenko gives it up. Payton, O'Neal in great position. It counts. And the foul on Miller.
Shaq waited on the right side of the floor for the ball to come all the way back around again. There you see him waiting. He's waiting. He knows he has him pinned on his back. Then it's a matter of entry pass on time, strong move to the basket by Shaq.
That's why Flip Saunders does not like that ball to go to the corner, especially when there's a guard down there, because Shaq has the defender's head all the way underneath the basket. Oliver Miller has got to grab him, wrap him up, and make him shoot 2 free throws, especially now he's in one of those rhythms where he's not hitting nearly the way he did 9 of 11 in game 1. Everybody was talking about his free throw shooting, coach. Nobody's saying anything right now.
Well, Shaq now 0 for 3 from the line. Lakers by 6. Sprewell, yes. Latrell Sprewell with his second field goal. What's most impressive about the Lakers here tonight, 15 field goals, and they have 15 assists on those field goals.
But what's most damaging to the Lakers defense is the gambles have left Minnesota wide open for shots. Shaq with the finish.
How about the footwork? He caught that ball at the elbow, inside turn, one bounce. He's at the rim, and Flip Saunders has seen enough of Oliver Miller. He's going to come back in with Herbin Johnson.
Johnson sat down after picking up a second foul. There's Garnett. Once again, the beautiful footwork of Kevin Garnett, who appeared to be trapped along the baseline.
You know, Mike Fratello made this point the other day. He said, why is it that when a guy gets a second-line player on him, his eyes get so big? Kevin knows he can score against Medvedenko anytime. He wants that ball at every possession while Malone's out of the game.
Good double team that time. They're not going to get Shaq going again, so they double with Garnett immediately. This time Shaq gives it up. Medvedenko with another jumper.
Coming up on 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Wolves down by 4. Garnett from the other side. Very few second chances for the Timberwolves. And that is through the hands of Payton. The ball back to Minnesota. Timeout is called. 5:05 to play in the first half. Lakers 34, T-Wolves 30. The 2004 Western Conference Finals on TNT have been brought to you by Heineken. It's all about the beer. Heineken. And by Verizon Wireless. Sign up for America's Choice Family Share Plan. Verizon Wireless. They never stop working for you. And it's time for Fast on Their Feet, presented by Lamisil.
Well, we are going to highlight the great footwork of Shaquille O'Neal. This man, 7'1", 350. Look at the inside turn, the bounce right to the front of the rim, and the score. But this is what you work on in the triangle. That's called the pinch post. They work so much, Tex Winter, on the footwork. You don't expect Shaq to be able to do that from that kind of distance out on the floor. Interestingly enough, in this game tonight, Shaq is 0 for 3 from the free throw line. Nobody else on the floor has attempted a free throw. Minnesota has not taken 1. The Lakers only 3. Nobody has made a free throw in this game tonight.
Cassell and Hoiberg in the backcourt now for Minnesota. Garnett, Johnson, Sprewell. Up front, Herbert Johnson is back for Oliver Miller. Here is Garnett, way off. And here's it from the crowd.
Remember before you said too much time for Karl Malone, or maybe too much time for Kevin Garnett.
Well, at the Target Center, Shaquille O'Neal was hearing the chant of air ball after one of his free throws, so retaliation from the crowd here at Staples.
It's a very quiet game right now for what's at stake. Both these teams, it's 1-1. There's not a lot of energy in here. Sort of a sluggish game.
There's Devin George from downtown at the 24-second buzzer. Devin George very quiet in the 2 games back in his hometown of Minneapolis. When we were talking with Phil Jackson earlier tonight, he said Devin usually plays better on his home court. That's the reason he's staying with him. Garnett with a drop step, has to give it up. Shot clock down at 3. Sprewell gets it off. Rebounded by Garnett. Nice play by Kevin Garnett.
That's only their second offensive rebound of the night. They've had 17 field goal misses, and that's only the second one. They're not a great offensive rebounding team, but they've got to get in the lane and get some points.
Lakers by 5. Malone on a catch and shoot. He's been off. Sprewell off that long outlet. Now Garnett sets the pick. Pick and roll. Garnett slips it to Johnson. There's the extra pass from Irvin Johnson. Here's Cassell. Nice play by Garnett, able to tip it to himself. Sprewell for 3. And the foul on Garnett, reaching in.
Everything a jump shot right now. No penetration at all. Minnesota's just sort of playing around that three-point line, maybe a step inside. They're putting no pressure at all on the Laker interior defense. Garnett has got back-to-back offensive rebounds, goes strong for this offensive rebound, and then reaches in and picks up a foul. Marv, you talked about it, had no fouls in game 2. Here he picks up his second of the game.
T-Wolves' 3rd team foul, Lakers with 2.
Kobe Bryant's only taken 1 shot tonight, Marv. He's played 19 minutes. The only time I can remember him doing that was against Sacramento when he got the wrath of his team. Remember, he didn't take a shot. That was a big loss in Sacramento. But he's just sort of right now just sort of playing through this game with his offense.
Well, Devin George able to knock down a second consecutive 3.
There's the hunch or the feeling that a coach has that he's going to give his player one more chance to go out there and try and prove that he can make a major contribution, and Devin George showing him that he was right.
Cassell. O'Neal with the rebound. Lakers have hit 4 of 6 from 3-point territory. Probably not even looking for the shot. And the ball back to Minnesota.
And Kobe looks at Karl Malone and he says, shoot the basketball. Again, that's that one extra pass that time that got him in trouble. You want your team to be unselfish. Take the open shot. You had a man there for the offensive rebound.
We are in Hollywood for this game number 3 of the Western Conference Finals Series, tied at 1 coming into tonight. And as always, a star-studded crowd. Melanie Griffith. And there is Ray Liotta. David Kelly of the Practice and Ally McBeal fame, alongside Steven Spielberg. Snoop Dogg, usually on hand here at Staples, as is Jack. He just loves to talk to the opposing coaches. I'm sure you've had many interesting conversations.
He makes a lot of substitutions for us.
Here is Serbiak for 3. Lakers up 40-32, 2 minutes to play in the first half, and Kobe not even thinking about a shot. It is a most unusual first half for Kobe Bryant, although we have seen this before. Gives it up to Malone, is wide open, he hesitates, and then hits.
19 assists now for the Lakers on 19 field goals. Mark, we talked in our open offensive efficiency for the Lakers. In game 2, 14 assists, 13 turnovers. Tonight, they're passing, moving the basketball, shooting 57% from the floor. We wondered if Minnesota could bring that defense from the Target Center. That has not happened here tonight.
Serbiak. Johnson had it slapped away. Good play by George. Try to save it. Good hustle. And here's it from this crowd.
You can see the Lakers paying special attention to the things that beat them last game. quick closeouts to Serbiak, not giving him the open looks, immediate rotations on drives to the basket, shutting off the front of the rim.
4 on the shot clock. Garnett has to force. Kept alive. Good job by Serbiak. Here's Cassell for 3. Yes.
That's a big shot. Remember, Marv, we always talk about closing quarters. It was a 10-point game. They get a second shot opportunity. That cuts it to 7. They get a stop here. They've been completely outplayed in the first half, and they could be within 5.
Sam Cassell, 6 of 9. He has 15 points. He's hit 3 from downtown. Lakers 8 for 10 from the field since O'Neal and Bryant returned, although Kobe not looking to take a shot. And now he does with the shot clock running down.
So he left little choice that time. They threw him the ball, no time left on the 24-second clock, so he had to throw that one up.
Oh, Cassell took a shot. Looked like he also got tripped up. Foul on Malone.
If I'm Phil Jackson right now, Karl Malone is going to come out of the game because he has 2 personal fouls. You know you need him in the second half to play defense against Garnett. He's done a good job against Garnett. Garnett 6 for 14 in this first half for 12 points.
You know, I'm surprised more guys don't get hit in the eyes. As much as guys use their hands to go for the basketball, and as much as you're in traffic, I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often.
Reminder, tomorrow night on ESPN, it's the Pacers and the Pistons in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Friday night on ESPN, game number 4 in that series, coverage starting 8 o'clock Eastern time. How about Detroit last night? 19 blocked shots, capped off by that incredible play by Tayshaun Prince against Reggie Miller.
Greatest defensive play that I can remember happening, saving a game with that block, running him down the way he did.
A little reminiscent of Richard Jefferson's block shot in Game 5 against the Pistons in the Palace when they won that triple overtime game when he got Chauncey Billups. But New Jersey could not take advantage of it. They got the home court, and then Detroit went in to beat them, and then beat them in Game 7.
Karl Malone apologizing to Sam Cassell for catching him with that shot.
Again, Minnesota has not taken a free throw the entire first half.
Oh, George with the steal, chased by Sprewell. And Devin George has turned it around in the second quarter.
Remember, it was Minnesota that scored 2 baskets at the end of the quarter in the last game. We see George get that big one for the Lakers.
Final seconds of the first half. Cassell forcing. There's Payton from center court. Lakers with a 44-35 lead here at the half.
Too much dribbling by Minnesota in that first half. They're a team that moves the basketball, finds the open man, only 8 assists. I'm sure Flip Saunders is going to talk to his team about that. More importantly, their defense. They have to be very, very afraid right now. You look at Shaquille O'Neal, 8 points. Kobe has not scored, and they trailed by 9.
Gary Payton has been the leader in that department. 6 of 9 from the field, 14 points, 6 assists. He's with Craig.
Well, Gary, everybody talks about getting off to a great start. 3rd game in a row you've been out there aggressive in the first quarter. 14 points this quarter in the first game, but only 2 points the rest of the way. Anything you need to do differently in the second half this game?
Well, I mean, they get me started early, and then all of a sudden, you know, we start running things from Shaq and stuff, and it start going well. So, you know, I just got to stay aggressive, and then hopefully that, you know, I can get more looks in the second half.
Kobe Bryant has only taken 2 shots. One of them he was forced with the shot clock. Anything we should say about the fact that he hasn't scored?
No, that ain't nothing. We lead. We up 9 points. It doesn't make a difference. Kobe's doing what he has to do. He's passing the ball. He's doing well. He's going to get shots. We're not worried about that. Right now, we just worried about we winning, and everything is working.
All right, thanks a lot. Back to you, Mark.
All right, thanks, Craig. Payton with 14, 8 apiece for O'Neal, Malone, and George. Sam Cassell leads Minnesota with 15. Kevin Garnett with 12. Coming up, the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report with Ernie Kenny Charles and Magic. We'll be right back.
Live from Staples Center, it's the Verizon Wireless halftime report. Game 3 of the Western Conference Final is best of 7 tied up at a game apiece, and the Lakers on top of the Timberwolves 44-35 as we come to you courtside here at Staples during Game 3. Ernie Johnson and the Hall of Famer Magic Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley. The Lakers getting a jump start in this game from the glove. Gary Payton red hot to start this game. Scored 14 points in the first quarter on 6 out of 7 shooting.
But a lot of that was because of, first you saw the transition baskets. That's what the Lakers did not get, any really transition points in game 2. And he came out aggressive. Also, too, Shaquille O'Neal been doing a wonderful job of setting the table for the other guys. In game 2, that ball did not go into Shaq enough. This game, they're going into Shaq. Devin George hit a couple three-pointers because Shaq was double-teamed. He kicked it back out, and he was wide open on an uncontested jump shot. Now, on game 2, they were shooting all contested jump shots, and then that allowed Minnesota to get into their transition game.
Gary Payton's opposite number, Sam Cassell, starting, and you got to hand it to him. I mean, he has really been banged up and didn't play at all, played 43 seconds in game 2, but he was hot to start this game also.
Yeah, he gets the red badge of courage. And one thing I was trying to see how Sam mannerisms were, and then early in the game, he chased the ball. When Sam is feeling good, he chases the ball. Like here, he gets an off-balance shot. But here, he goes over the pick, back over. He's chasing shots. He didn't make this one, but that's when I knew he was all right. But I finally knew Sam Cassell was himself when he's talking. When he's arguing with his coach, he's going back and forth. That's when I know Sam's ready to play. And they're in position to be in the game, and I think that's what Flip Saunders has to be happy about.
And if he's going to get the red badge of courage, you got to hand an assist to Andre DeLoya. He's the physical therapist who's been working with Sam nonstop and trying to get that hip and that back.
That's his job, Ernie.
Well, I'm telling you. And he's done a good job of it, getting him ready for this one. Your take on the first 24, Chet?
Well, you know, the Lakers came out. Shaq was very active, went from the first play of the game. And to concur with Irvin said, he makes other players better. Kobe is their best one-on-one player, but those role players can't get involved unless Shaq is getting double and those guys get open shots. Shaq would be like if he played hockey. Like sometimes the first guy don't get the shot, but the other guy gets the shot.
You bring up Kobe Bryant's name, too.
He's tired from being in court.
If you look at the stat sheet and you see 0 for 2 and you say, hey, this must be a misprint. But no, there were 2 shots taken in the first half by Kobe Bryant, and one of those was with the shot clock winding down, and he just had to get rid of it.
But I don't think the Lakers mind that, because one thing good about Kobe Bryant is he knows at any point of the game he can take it over and he can dominate it. He's had games like this before. At San Antonio, one of the games, he did the same thing, came out, had a big third quarter, and came out and had a big fourth quarter as well.
He doesn't see anybody out here that I think that poses that problem of saying, you know what, if I don't get these attempts up, I might not get any of them. Against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he still feels I could get my FGAs up. So I can relax, let everybody get involved, and when I need to take 10 shots in a quarter, I'll be able to do it.
It is 44-35 at the break. The Lakers with the lead here in Game 3. The series tied up at a game apiece. We'll be back with more on the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report in just a second.
Halftime report from the Western Conference Finals is brought to you by Verizon Wireless, the official wireless provider of the NBA.
Can you hear me now? Good.
2004 NBA Western Conference Finals, only on TNT.
Welcome back to Staples Center, the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report, where Kevin Garnett had 12 points and 6 rebounds on 6 of 14 shooting in the first half. The Timberwolves trail 44-35. Meantime, in the Eastern Conference Final, it's tied up at a game apiece. Detroit, with Rasheed Wallace guaranteeing victory in Game 2, even the series against the Pacers. And then there was another guarantee by Sheed after the game.
How's it feel to be Indiana public enemy #1 right now?
I'm everybody's public enemy #1, so it don't matter.
sheet any other guarantees?
I guarantee that for games 3 and 4, we'll go back to Detroit and play.
You got to like the chances coming home, though, with it come series tied at 1?
Yeah, no question. We're going to go home, play hard. We know they're going to come out and try to do the same thing we did here tonight.
The Pistons and the Pacers tied up at a game apiece. That's the situation here, too, at Staples Center, but the Lakers with a 44-35 lead as Sylvester Stallone among those in attendance at Staples. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Los Angeles as we take a look at Venice Beach. Doug, as you know, the Czar spends a lot of time posing on the beach. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, the Czar, Mike Fratello. A red-hot shooting first half for the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's start by taking a look at the Gatorade X Factor of the game, which tonight is a battle at the point guard spot.
Without question, you have Sam Cassell playing with the bad hip, who came out shooting the ball extremely well in 19 minutes. Cassell has 15 points, 6 of 10 shooting, but 3 for 5 from the three-point line. And Peyton in 21 minutes, 6 of 9, 14 points, making 2 out of 5 from the three-point line.
And the Lakers at 20 of 36 from the field, red hot, and able to close out both quarters very strong. Big run at the end of the first, big run at the end of the second.
Well, Phil Jackson felt they did not do that well in game 2, and that's what cost them. The interesting thing, if you're Phil, you got to be very excited. Kobe and Shaq have combined for 8 points. You've got a 9-point lead. Look, 56% shooting, 18 assists. The bench points and the runs to close the corners. But Marv, we talked about to start the game, could Minnesota bring that aggressive attacking defense that they brought in game 2 on the road? That has not been the case tonight. Laker offensive efficiency running at its highest level. I would expect Kobe to come out firing a little bit in the third quarter.
Look at tonight's Chrysler game summary. What do you guys think is going on with Kobe? 0 for 2. 1 was a force at the end of the shot clock. He did take 24 shots in game 2, 10 for 24. There was the thought that Shaquille O'Neal did not get enough shots. Do you think perhaps something was said and he's reacting because he was passing up on shots?
Kind of like what Peyton said, that he's going to get shots. They're down 9 right now. Kobe has 20 shots in the first half. Is everybody happier on their team? He's playing the game. He sees other guys have it going. They have a +9 advantage on the scoreboard.
All right, let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Marv, the reaction from the coaching staff of the Lakers to the fact that Kobe was 0 for 2. It's an interesting game of basketball, isn't it? They said the offense came from other places, but Kobe will get his shots. Cheryl?
The flip side that says, obviously, for the second half, that his team needs to pick up their defensive intensity and pressure these guys and extend their defense as well. Limit the Lakers' offensive spurts. Also, quick update on Sam Cassell at halftime. The majority of the time he was on the electric stem, and then after that he was on the bike. It'll be interesting to see, and the challenge will be if he can keep that back loose, guys.
All right, thanks, Cheryl. Trenton Hassel opening up the scoring in the third quarter. So the Lakers have a 7-point lead. Shaquille O'Neal off the double. Sprewell able to gather it in. Lakers get back. Oh, Sprewell thought that he had a teammate, but it was the official Derek Stafford.
Out of the peripheral vision there, he saw somebody running alongside of him. He just passed the ball to where he thought his teammate was going to be. Unfortunately, he had the wrong color jersey on.
Well, you look at Sam Cassell, those wires that he wears are not tucked into his pants. We see Kobe with a quick jumper, and the follow-up by Devin Jordan. Those wires are hanging out of his shorts right now, flapping as he runs up and down the floor.
And you hate when that happens.
Yes.
Garnett, big play by Malone. Garnett, yes.
You know, it's sort of amazing that Minnesota's only down 5. I mean, when you look at the Laker numbers, and our offense has been so good. So if you're Flip Saunders, you got to say, we've got a chance to win this game.
Minute and a half gone by in the third. Bryant with a nice lead. Malone is fouled. Karl Malone heads to the line, and that is number 3 on Irvin Johnson.
If you go back to last season during the playoffs, the starter, 10 out of 12 games for Los Angeles at the power forward position was Robert Ory. He shot 32% from the floor. From the three-point line, he was 2 of 38 from the three-point line. 5.5-point game average, 6.7 rebounds a game. That had to be upgraded. Splitting time with him, they had Mark Madsen, Medvedenko, Samaki Walker. That's why Karl Malone came in to plug that gap from a year ago.
Well, and how fortunate they were that he was willing to take such a pay decrease to do that. I mean, obviously, he could have probably stayed in Utah for a lot more money or gone to other teams. You know, Gary Payton took the mid-level exception, so that left him like the million plus of the player with his stature in this league. So obviously he wanted to play on a championship team, and the Lakers are thrilled that he's here.
And now Kevin Garnett handling the ball. That is to relieve Sam Cassell from doing too much. The foul is called on Payton. That's his first. Irvin Johnson, Kevin Garnett, Trent Hassel on the front line. Latrell Sprewell, Sam Cassell in the backcourt. Nice play. Cassell from Garnett. And again, the T-Wolves within 4.
So many of Minnesota's baskets have come on uncontested shots. Not shots where you go up and there's a hand in your face trying to challenge it. Guys falling down, guys missing rotations, or layups.
And a foul as O'Neal looked to power his way. And that is 4 on Johnson. So Michael Olowokandi off the bench to replace Irvin Johnson.
And that's trouble because Michael Olowokandi did not play well in the first half. And Mark Madsen will probably be the next guy to get the chance. Oliver Miller did not play well off the bench. So they need Michael Olowokandi now to step up and help them against Shaq.
Payton passed on the 3. Here's the runner. Gary Payton, 7 of 10, 16 points, along with 6 assists. Sprewell, rebounded by O'Neal. Lakers have led by as many as 10. They're up by 6. Looking to take a 2-1 lead with game number 4 here in Los Angeles on Thursday night. And the outside official calling a defensive 3-second violation.
Well, Garnett is a one-man zone, and that's what Mike Rotella talked about in the open regarding the importance of Karl Malone being able to make shots. It prevents Garnett from roaming so much in the game because he's going to try to help on Shaq or Kobe anytime he gets a chance.
Kobe Bryant able to convert on the technical, and hearing the cheers from this crowd, that is his first point of the night.
I looked at personal fouls from the center position for Minnesota. In game 1 where they lost and Shaq had such a good night from the free throw line, they only used up 8 fouls amongst their 4 centers. In game 2, they used 15 fouls up, and thus far tonight, just 6 personal fouls.
Bryant is fouled by Hassel, and it looked like he took a poke over the left eye.
This is probably the 3rd or 4th time that we've seen Hassel foul Kobe Bryant while shooting a jump shot. And that one, to me, looks like it's a pretty darn good block right there.
Well, I think he called that he hit him with his left hand in the face before he went up for the shot. The block was clean. His left hand caught him in the face on the way up, but the block at the top was clean.
Trent Hassel, a strong defensive player because of those long arms. As a kid, his favorite player was a one-time Laker, Michael Cooper, who was pretty good at the defensive end.
Yes, he was. Talk about a guy who played multiple positions and could lock you down.
9-point Laker lead. 3 minutes gone by in the third. Cutting off the baseline. Garnett goes the other way. Oh, what a move by Kevin Garnett. Able to flip it with O'Neal moving in his direction.
If he can just keep his dribble alive long enough, it seems that on the second or third dribble, that's when he takes Malone off the dribble and turns the corner. And then the other Lakers, if they're not there to swarm and help, that's where he gets an open look.
Here's George showing confidence. Kevin George, silent in the first 2 games, back at his hometown of Minneapolis, has come up big here tonight. He's 4 of 7, 2 from downtown. He has 10 points. Foul on Malone, putting some pressure on Garnett for Karl Malone. That's number 3.
It was a great point, though, that Mike made regarding Kevin Garnett. He has such the quickness advantage that if Malone can get his body on him, he can slow him down. If he keeps his dribble and creates space, that extra bounce will get him the distance he needs so Malone can't strip him on the way up.
Now Garnett facing up. Went to the fadeaway, and Hassel is there with the follow. Trenton Hassel cuts it to a 7-point Laker lead.
So I have to say it again, it's another basket for Minnesota without anyone contesting the guy who's scoring. So block out, no result.
Crowd wanted a pushing foul on Garnett. Hassel ends up with it, and Garnett says, let's regroup. Hassel, nice move, and Trenton Hassel very much into it in this third quarter.
Well, he and Fred Hoiberg were very important in the Sacramento series. They were scoreless combined the other day in the win. Neither one of them had a basket, but both of them have played very good defense.
Hassel has hit 3 for 3 from the field in this third quarter. He has done it with a variety of moves. 5-point Laker lead. We'll be right back. The 2004 Western Conference Finals here on TNT are being brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Over 2,800 non-stop daily flights to 60 destinations all across the country. And by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. Let's take a look and see what's coming up here on TNT.
What about the house? That scares me even to this day.
Rob Lowe, Salem's Lot. Don't miss 2 nights of suspense, only on TNT.
And that minor series, Salem's Lot, starring Rob Lowe, who's been a Laker fan since the early 80s and went to Santa Monica High School. Tell us about your supporting cast, your teammates in this miniseries.
Yeah, I've got some good people with me. Donald Sutherland, James Cromwell, Andre Brower. It's a really great group of amazing actors.
Based on a movie by Stephen King. Have you read the book, and how do you relate the book to the miniseries?
It's the first book I ever read. It scared me when I was 13, and I never forgot it.
Is this miniseries just as scary as the book?
You're not going to believe that you can get this scared watching TV. That's for sure.
Obviously, you grew up in Santa Monica. How big a Laker fan are you, and what do you think of tonight's game?
I think it's great. I want Kobe to get in the game. Okay, that looks good. I think we're going to have a good game. I think the Lakers are going to do just fine.
All right, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing the miniseries.
All right, Rob Lowe doing his first play-by-play.
So we need another analyst in this business.
Lakers 54, and the T-Wolves 47. Kobe Bryant's first bucket. And a loose ball foul on the Lakers. Devin George got involved with Trenton Hassel, like Kobe Bryant also in the middle of it. And the foul is on Kobe.
Doug, what would your normal reaction be in a game if you went 30 minutes and your team hadn't shot a free throw yet in the game? You wouldn't say anything about it, would you?
Well, I mean, I just look, they've attempted 10 threes, and when they live on threes, they get themselves in trouble. They don't get in the lane and score.
O'Neal with the rebound.
We're talking about Minnesota, who has yet to shoot their first free throw attempt in this game. And it's not like Flip Saunders is complaining either. He understands that they're a jump shooting team tonight, not taking it to the basket aggressively.
And as Kobe Bryant trying to make a move, looking for some space, he's called for a traveling violation, and a technical foul has been called. Kobe had something to say to the official, Dan Crawford.
That's a little bit sign that Kobe is not himself here tonight. He doesn't get a lot of technical fouls. I mean, he's a guy that will complain, and and all, but he's a little out of sorts here tonight. He's trying to take Hassel off the dribble. He stumbles and gets called for a violation. Only 1 field goal, 4 attempts. And he's trying to work himself into the game. Maybe this is something he's going to do to try to get himself emotionally involved in the game, Mike. You see coaches get technical. Sometimes players do that as well.
I just wonder if there's something wrong with Kobe tonight, if he's sick, he's not feeling well, what it is, because he just is not his normal self as far as the level of energy that we normally see him play with.
Right, we're not seeing the same passion that we're accustomed to seeing. And apparently stepped out of bounds, so the ball back to the Lakers. But I think Craig Sager, in his report right at the start of this third quarter, after talking to several of the Laker coaches, who said, well, there are all kinds of interesting things that happen in the game of basketball. So they are saying that they are puzzled in watching what is going on with Kobe, who had a scoreless first half. Hassel caught on a reach-in foul.
I think the one thing, if you're Phil Jackson, is you don't want Kobe now to all of a sudden try to turn it on. Your team does have a 6-point lead, and as we talk, the Lakers are leading. But the one thing he does want to have happen right now is for Kobe to try to do too much.
He actually was out of bounds on that play. When he drove and tried to turn the corner, his left foot went over the baseline, and he was out of bounds.
Just under 6 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Lakers up by 6. Here is George. Yes.
Well, he has played a terrific game tonight. And Phil Jackson, again, his confidence to stay with him. You know, players and, coaches sometimes get a lot of grief about why are you playing people and why you stay with the guys so long. But, you know, it's been my feeling all along, nobody knows a player like the coach and what he needs at that particular time. And Phil is one of the masters at knowing his team and his players and what they need. And this dose of confidence that he's given Devin George has paid dividends for his team.
Well, George is 5 of 8 for 12 points. Here's Sprewell. Quiet night for Latrell Sprewell after 2 sensational games at the Target Center, Minneapolis. Latrell now 3 of 11. He has 6 points. Here's Payton. Gary Payton, you recall, back in the series against San Antonio, was severely outplayed the first 2 games by Tony Parker, and then came back in the 4-1 by the Lakers. First 2 games of this series, he's been quiet, and he has come up strong here tonight.
Now, I think a defining moment in that San Antonio series when they came back from San Antonio down 0-2, and Payton spoke out about needing help on the screen roll as we see George leave. It sort of galvanized his team. I think they said, you know what, we're hanging this guy out here to sort of take the brunt of this. They really pulled together and won those 4 games. And his team really backed him up during that period of time, Marv.
And did that affect the Lakers going away from the triangle? Because Payton kept saying, I have to attack, I have to play my style of basketball. Of course, when he came to LA, he knew what the philosophy would be here. That's a foul on Oliver Candy.
Well, you must understand that Gary Payton is not a spot-up jump shooter like Steve Kerr used to make a couple of them during his career, spotting up, playing out of the spotting up, playing out of the triangle. And that's what the role is of that point guard so often in the triangle. Gary's used to having the ball, bringing it down, getting into the baseline area, going one-on-one, creating that way. So after playing all these years in the league, you just don't all of a sudden say, okay, I'm a different player suddenly.
Minnesota in the penalty, and Shaq now 0 for 4 at the line. Reminder, you can get an all-access look at the NBA playoffs. Tune into the NBA TV playoff show Destination Final. That's nightly at 6 p.m. only on NBA TV.
After a 9 of 11 game 1 free throw, he's now 6 of his last 19 shooting free throws. So he's sort of fallen back into that malaise that he was in the first 2 rounds.
Right, prior to the 9 for 11, he was 38% at the line. In the playoffs, Kobe Bryant picks up his second foul, and that'll put Wally Szczerbiak at the line. Both teams are now over the foul line.
Yeah, since that elbow to the jaw, we have never seen Kareem Rush come back into the game again in the Laker lineup. Whatever the dental work that needs to be done tomorrow, Phil Jackson either has talked to the trainer, been advised not to use him, or just does not want to put him in the game.
And I like this lineup that he has on the floor. I've always said I think this is his best lineup when you have Fisher and Payton and Kobe out there together, because Fisher can really pressure the ball. And then Payton plays more off the ball as a 2-guard, and then he can look to score more.
Rare trip to the free throw line by the T-Wolves. They are now 3 for 3 at the line. Minnesota has never had fewer than 13 free throw attempts in a playoff game in the history of the franchise. O'Neal was rejected, and it will count. It's a goaltend. The basket will count.
The defensive player took his hand, put it up through the bottom of the net to block that shot that was going in. A beautiful ducking move, high-low, like Doug talked about early in the game. Shaq steps in. Now watch Olowokandie's hand go up through the net to goaltending.
The Lakers are running more of their triangle offense tonight than they did run in the first 2 games.
Serbiak trying to put a move on Payton. Defensive 3-second violation called by Ron Garrison. So a technical foul awarded the T-Wolves. And a question as to who will take the T. Derek Martin, who's a good free throw shooter, stepped to the line, but he's called back. Wally Serbiak will shoot it.
When you are a scorer, as is Wally Serbiak, and you shoot free throws well, you sprint to the line. I used to be tackled trying to get to the free throw line to shoot. Those are free points, Marv.
Latrell Sprewell saying to Derek, no, come on back. Wally will take it. Timeout with 3:50 left in this third quarter. Flip Saunders in his 8th year as head coach of the Timberwolves, who had their best season of the 15-year history of this franchise. 58-24 top seed in the West. Before this playoff run, T-Wolves had been knocked out of the first round for 7 straight years. They had never won a playoff series. And a foul is called. Shaquille O'Neal looking for the blocked shot. Foul was on Payton in the postseason. Minnesota defeating Denver in 5, then eliminated Sacramento in 7. They wrapped it up last Wednesday night in Minneapolis off the sensational game by Kevin Garnett. Then they had a day of rest, and they open up this Western Conference final against the Lakers.
That's how important the shot that Derek Fisher made in Game 5 was for the Lakers. If they have to go 7, and let's say they beat San Antonio, they travel the next day and start in Minnesota with the same amount of rest that Minnesota has, and now has to play 2 games on the road. That shot and then the subsequent win in Game 6 bought his team 5 days rest.
And as a result, T-Wolves with no energy in Game 1. They turned it in Game 2. So this series is even at 1. Malone goes to the fadeaway, rebounded by Serbiak. Lakers have led by as many as 10. It's now a 5-point game. Serbiak over Fisher.
What he's done now, he is going into the post. He posted Payton, got to the line. He posts Fisher. So they've gone to the bench, and when they took George out, Wally went to work. Devin George is coming back into the game for that reason.
And this crowd getting a bit anxious.
Serbiak knows that he has size on Fisher. He's going to dribble the ball down to the spot where he feels comfortable, just turns, shoots it over the top of Derek Fisher.
Serbiak has the last 7 points now for Minnesota. Serbiak able to slap it away from O'Neal.
But again, a big part of that Game 2 win. 41 points by the Minnesota bench, 31 combined for Serbiak and Derek Martin. Tonight, that bench is combined for 11.
Bryant. Kobe Bryant with only his 2nd field goal. He is 2 of 5 from the field, 3 for 3 from the foul line. Serbiak feeling it. Yes.
That's why he's in the game, to score. He's in there to put points on the board. Now the question is, can they get the stops they need?
Wally coming off a strong Game 2 in 39 minutes, 16 points, along with 7 assists, and doing it here in the third quarter. Bryant rebounded by O'Neal, and a loose ball foul. It's on Minnesota. Foul on Olowokandi, that's his 3rd. You see Sam Cassell riding the bike, looking to stay fresh.
That's about how excited I was today in the health club, riding had that same look on my face.
Sam just looking to stay active with the sore back and the sore hip. I saw you on the bike reading box scores.
And going about that fast.
Well, that's his first successful free throw after missing his previous 5. And he'll take it. You never see the same delivery.
And that's why late in this game, if Minnesota can stay close, they're going to have to use all their fouls. Anytime he catches that ball late in the game, you might see a hack-a-shack in a real close game here.
Well, Fitz Saunders telling us earlier this series that he would not hesitate to go the hack-a-shack route. Thought about it for game 1 when Shaq was hitting his free throws. Foul on Rick Fox.
Remember that Phil Jackson had mentioned that Fox has had pretty good success in the past guarding Serbiak. So the substitution out, trying to cool him off. Fox immediately comes in, tries to be physical. A back cut by Serbiak winds up getting him 2 free throws.
You know, we talk about teams and the strength of teams, and I said there's a few areas you look at, and with the Timberwolves, look, they were 4th in opponent's field goal percentage, 4th in point differential, tied for the best road record, and they were 5th in free throw shooting. To me, these are ingredients that make the strength of your team and give you a chance to win in games like this.
What is most impressive, that record on the road, 27-14, tied with the Indiana Pacers, but Minnesota best in the West in that department. Here they are within 2 points, just under 2 remaining in the third. O'Neal is fouled. It will count, and he heads back to the line.
I think Shaq kind of wants the ball right now. I get the feeling that he wants them to come down, get him the ball in the low post. He knows that Olowokandi cannot get around him. He's strong enough to hold him off. That time he actually splits the hands that are coming in to try and strip it away, gets the basket and an opportunity.
Foul on Derek Martin, who was trying to knock it aside. So here's Shaq now 1 of 7 at the line. Wally Serbiak has scored the last 11 points for the Timberwolves. Lakers up by 4 with 1:45 remaining in the third. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, the Czar, Mike Fratello were at Staples in L.A. Serbiak called for the offensive foul as he tried to spin, and Rick Fox took the hit.
Nice job of Fox anticipating which way he was going to go, got his body in front. You'll watch Serbiak push off with that right hand. That's an offensive foul.
Brief rest for Kobe Bryant. He's back, coming on for Devin George.
Now, the Lakers have done a great job closing out the first 2 quarters. They lead by 4, 1:41 to go. Minnesota cannot let them push this to a double-digit lead.
Bryant watched by Sprewell. Garnett jumping out. Frees up Malone. Malone eluding Sprewell. And again the foul on the T-Wolves. Olowokandi all over O'Neal.
Shaq's one of those guys, when you try to block him out, you almost have to go face guard him and just try to push him out of the play. It's what you used to try to do with Dennis Rodman. Now, Rodman would do it more with speed and quickness getting to the offensive board. This guy, power. But you almost have to face guard him and just say, I just can't let you try to get to the boards. But that is easier said than done with his power.
And then you rely on your teammates to go get the basketball.
And Shaq hears the applause from the crowd. Two of 9. Well, make it 2 for 10 for Shaquille O'Neal. Lakers up by 5 points. Eric Martin back at the point. Garnett played by O'Neal. Shot clock to 5. Serbiak, yes, from downtown. 16 points. 14 of the 16 coming here in the third for Wally Serbiak. Lakers by 2 points. And foul is called as they try to trap Bryant. Foul on Garnett, that's his third. Both teams are over the foul limit. Bryant is 3 for 3 from the line, but it has been a very strange game for Kobe Bryant. Scoreless in the first half, not looking for a shot. He was 0 for 2, although one of those shots with the shot clock running down.
Well, if he knocks his free throw and he has 9 points, and chances are, Barb, this is such a talented young player that he's going to find a way to get 20. He will, in the fourth quarter, be a guy that Minnesota's still going to have to gear their defense to try to stop.
68-64, Lakers. Garnett with room. And a 2-for-1 opportunity. Bryant. Yes. Lakers by 6, and there's no question that Kobe is right back into it here in the third quarter.
Don't think that Kobe didn't know what the clock had left on it. He took it right down, immediately created a shot for himself.
Pushing foul called on Malone. Kobe Bryant with 11 points, all 11 here in the third quarter. And that was number 4 on Karl Malone, who was in foul trouble in game 2 on Sunday night.
Great players, they have this awareness of the clock in their minds. And Kobe, Mike, he just drove the ball down to get the 2-for-1 situation, knew he could get the shot. It's like Kareem Rush is going to come in the game here for the last possession, probably for Karl Malone to give them another 3-point shooter. Fox will probably slide down and play the power forward position, so they'll have good shooting on the floor.
Kevin Garnett at the line for the first time tonight. So Kareem Rush, despite taking that hard shot in the mouth back in the first half, is back in. Mark Batson has returned for the Timberwolves. We're down to 21 seconds to play in the third. Lakers 70, Wolves 65. Some pressure being shown here by Minnesota.
Got to get the ball out of Kobe's hands. You cannot let him take the last shot. You've got him make him pass the ball.
Down to 10 seconds remaining in the third. Fisher fires. I thought he was waiting for point 4. So that's the end of the third. Kobe Bryant back into it after a silent first half. All 11 of his points here in the third quarter. After 3, Lakers 70 and the Timberwolves 65. It is just past 8 p.m. here in Los Angeles. Game number 3, Western Conference Finals. And it's on to the fourth quarter. Marv Albert, Bizarre, Mike Fratello, Doug Collins, Craig Sager, Cheryl Miller. We are at Staples. Lakers and T-Wolves tied at 1 of this series. Phil Jackson, in his 5th year as head coach of this team, yet another eventful season for Phil and his LA Lakers. He is gunning for Red Auerbach's NBA record. He's coached 9 NBA title teams, 6 for Chicago, 3 with the Lakers, tied with Red and looking for number 10.
Probably the most challenging year he's had. With all the things that have gone on with his team, it seems like it's always something. We talked about Rick Fox's great line. He said, we're at our team when there's creative tension. Well, we know there's been a lot of that this year, and it's taking its toll on Phil. You can tell when we talked to him before games and stuff. It's to manage this team to a championship would be a heck of an accomplishment.
Sam Cassell called for that foul. That's his second. Now Mark Matson contending with Shaquille O'Neal, and it leads to an offensive foul. Matson shaken up. A foul on O'Neal.
You see the leverage Matson's trying to get. Look how far behind his feet are so he can hold his ground, and as Shaq turns in, that left elbow, sometimes you catch it in your face, and that's where it's called an offensive foul.
And this is an opponent that Shaq is very fond of. Can you imagine if he doesn't like it?
Yeah, that's true.
It's a former teammate.
They've moved Kobe now over on Wally Szczerbiak to try to cool him down. Remember now, Kobe's an all-league defender.
Szczerbiak had 14 of his 16 points in the third quarter. Fisher for three. Yes! A rainbow three from Derek Fisher. Lakers 73, the Timberwolves 65.
Almost like that's what the crowd was waiting for. Let's get Derek Fisher into this game.
Kareem Rush moves it across, met by Fred Hoiberg. Here's Fisher. Goes for the two. Rebounded by O'Neal, and he's fouled. He was pushed.
Anytime Fisher takes the ball aggressively off the dribble and tries to turn the corner, he goes by Cassell because Cassell just doesn't have the mobility to guard him. Flips on to sees that. That's why you have a substitution right now. Derek Martin coming in.
Well, they've got to, lift up the level of their defense right now. They're 8 down, and they're not going to outscore the Lakers. They've got to get some stops. The efficiency offensively right now for the Lakers is exactly the way it was in Game 1.
A foul on Matson. Once again, Matson dealing with O'Neal. Hoiberg now guarding Bryant. And as O'Neal takes that entry pass, we get a foul call again on Matson.
If you play a game with a back and a hip the way Cassell is, does that mean necessarily you probably are not going to play the next game because you need those extra days to recover? Do you think you can go every day, or does this mean his next time is back in Minnesota?
I think it'll be day to day. You don't know how he'll respond to these minutes.
Shaquille O'Neal over Mark Matson. It's a 9-1 Laker run, and the T-Wolves take a timeout.
Did you see Shaq? He went to Ronnie Garrison, and he imitated the way Matson was playing. It's like he leaned forward like, can he do that?
Lakers up 10 with 10:25 remaining, and you look at Mark Matson trying to get the leverage, getting that left leg back there so he can hold off Shaquille O'Neal. Then when he thinks Shaq is going to start his move, he takes the leg and moves it back even further, anticipating what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you just take the punishment when he turns into you. Shaq knows exactly how he's playing because they played against each other in practice, so he helps the official by saying, this is how he's playing me. Is that supposed to be basketball?
Shaq is such a helpful guy. Last touch by Medvedenko. The Timberwolves with only one field goal the last 4.5 minutes. And Kevin Garnett, this is similar to what took place in Game 1 in Minneapolis, without a field goal the last 10.5 minutes. Lakers so aggressive now at the defensive end. 2 minutes gone by on the fourth. Lakers with a 10-point lead to match their biggest of the night. Medvedenko. And here comes Garnett, met by Bryant. Szczerbiak is open, shoots the three. Wally Szczerbiak is on fire.
Well, when you go for the steal, you lay your team out defensively in the backcourt. Kobe went for the steal. It was 2-on-1, the extra pass, and Wally's the hot hand right now.
He has 17 of the Timberwolves' last 18 points. Shot clock down to 7. They're saying to Medvedenko, take the shot. Here's O'Neal, and he's fouled. He was hacked. Nice drop step by Shaquille O'Neal.
Normally, if you're going to have two defensive players on one post man, one is in front, one is behind. Actually, Minnesota got caught with two players behind Shaquille O'Neal. Lakers waited, and eventually got him the ball after they swung it around the perimeter.
We might see one of those games from Shaq where I saw that in the NBA Finals, Indiana Game 2, where he took 39 free throws. It could be one of those nights where the last 6 or 7 minutes here, he catches that ball around the basket. You take every foul and you say, you know what, you're going to beat us at the free throw line. If we're going to throw you the ball in the post, then you're going to have to beat us at the line.
Shaq now 2 of 12, and he has that deceptive release, and it often leads to someone stepping in, so a lane violation. And he'll get another opportunity, which is not necessarily a good thing. Well, in this case, it leads to 2 more points.
Does he get an assist on that one?
That's a 3 for 2. You miss 3 free throws and you tip it in. You get 2 points.
Lakers 77, T-Wolves 68. And as bodies hit the deck, foul is called on the Lakers. Only their first team foul. It's on Medvedenko.
And Medvedenko plays against Karl Malone every day, so why shouldn't he just run through a screen if somebody's trying to set a screen on him? There he's called with the foul.
Slava Medvedenko gets a hand from the crowd. 3 of 5, 6 points, 10 minutes. Karl Malone returns. 9 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter. Serbiak splitting his way through. Shaq changed that shot, kept alive, and Irvin Johnson is able to convert. That's his first field goal.
Well, great awareness by Garnett. He saw that he could not catch the ball, so he just tipped it right over to his teammate who had a layup.
7-point Laker lead. Here's Bryant going 1-on-3. And it was deflected out of bounds. He thought he was fouled, but last touched by Minnesota.
One of the things you risk is when you foul Shaq early and get in the penalty early. Now when you foul Kobe Bryant, he's going to be shooting free throws. That's the risk you run of fouling Shaq early and getting to the quick penalty.
And the next Timberwolves foul will put them over the limit. Fisher and Rush now in the backcourt, so Bryant up front at a small forward spot. Fisher rebounded by O'Neal. And the foul on Garnett. So Shaq returns to the line. Minnesota is now in the penalty. We're looking at a 16% free throw shooter here tonight. Shaq is 2 for 12.
You can't touch fouling. You've got to wrap him up and no 3-point play opportunities. This guy is, you can't keep him off the boards. And right now he is really struggling to shoot the free throws.
Reminder, tomorrow night on ESPN, it's the Pacers and the Pistons, game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals, starting 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then Friday night on ESPN, game number 4, coverage starting 8 o'clock Eastern time. And Shaq, here's the cheers as he hits his 3rd free throw, 3 of 14, but we're looking at 17 points, 17 rebounds, and domination by O'Neal. Sprewell able to recover. Garnett with the fake and had nowhere to go, but he drew the foul as Shaq came over to help. It is on O'Neal, his 2nd.
He's got to stay very aggressive. Kevin Garnett is a guy that can get to the free throw line. He has that capability. Put the onus on the referee to have to blow his whistle when you go in contact. He's the MVP of the league. Make them call fouls.
If Shaq would have come 1 step sooner, he had the great opportunity to have him pinned behind the backboard. Garnett had no way of getting that shot off. But Shaq 1 step slow, never got there in time.
Kevin Garnett very quiet in this 2nd half. Now his 18 points in all. This only his 4th free throw attempt.
I thought game 7 against Sacramento was the best I've ever seen him under pressure as a scorer. He scored 13 straight points in that deciding game. Had all the field goals for Minnesota when they eliminated him in the 7-game series. He must have stayed aggressive. Minnesota now going to what looks like a little bit of a matchup zone defense.
Exactly. As the cutters go through, they pass him off to the next person on the back line.
And again, O'Neal. His foul. Oliver Miller coming on for Irvin Johnson and picks up his 2nd foul.
That's foul number 13 from the 4 centers combined for Minnesota. They had 15 in game number 2, 13 already with 8 minutes to go here.
You know, Marv, what I think about with Shaq is here's a guy who's so dominant. How frustrating it must be. He does make this free throw to go to the line. You know, if I would compare it to something, to me it would be like being a great golfer getting to the green and you 3-putt at every green. I mean, how frustrating it must be for this guy knowing now that they're going to expose him and put him on the line, and he's got to make these free throws, and he steps up and he does it.
Well, can you imagine if he were an excellent free throw shooter?
Oh.
At times it would be unfair. But tonight he's 5 for 16. Sprewell He's been off. Latrell only 3 for 13.
Does Minnesota have a run? Do they have enough energy here on the road to put together one last run?
Bryant was fouled. Beautiful pass by Malone.
Doug, aren't you supposed to three-putt every green?
Yeah, in miniature golf when it's a par 3.
The more shots, the better. The passing ability of Karl Malone, which he's so used to from the Utah days, the pass and cut by Bryant into traffic, almost gets the lucky bounce.
Bryant is 5 for 5 at the line.
Fans are chanting MVP here to Kobe. See the second half, he's really come to life. Marvin, he talked about only 2 first-half field goals, but he's starting to work himself into a 20-plus point game.
The Lakers match their biggest lead of the night, 7.5 remaining in the fourth. Rush doing a nice job on Sprewell. Garnett. That's a traveling violation.
And we get the signal from Karl Malone once again. We're going the other way.
Again, though, Kevin Garnett has got to know that he can't back Karl Malone down, because the minute Malone feels his body, he's going to pull the chair, and when you're backing so hard, you got no place to go except to stumble. You got to turn and face and use your quickness.
Malone at the high post. Bryant leading O'Neal, and another Minnesota foul. Seems like they've been over the limit since this fourth quarter got underway.
Now, you just talked about pulling the chair, and an interesting thing Flip Saunders told us today was that when his guys tried to do it to Shaquille O'Neal, they come back and tell Flip that he's so agile that when they start to back away from him, he doesn't lose his balance. He has the great ability to be that big, that strong, weigh as much as he does, and yet when they try to suddenly back off him to get him to travel, it doesn't happen.
I like the statement by Shaq after the poor free throw shooting the other night. He said, I was affected by too much rain in the Twin Cities on Sunday. This is his 150th career playoff game. So Shaq with 20 points, 17 rebounds. Lakers 83, Timberwolves 72. 5 minutes gone by in the fourth.
They've done a nice job on Sprewell tonight. They've not letting him get in the open court.
Serbiak around Fisher. Jack able to poke it over to Fisher. What ball control by Derek Fisher. Takes all the way. Rebounded by Fisher. Squeezing his way in. And Miller comes up with it.
Come on, Fish. You did enough. You dribbled the whole length of the floor. You shot it the first time. You got an offensive rebound. Give it up.
That's a rare miss by Serbia.
And not a good shot there. That was one that you miss it, you don't have a chance to rebound it because nobody on your team is back underneath the basket.
Malone just went down and claims he was tripped up, claims he was fouled, complained to the official, Ron Garrison. That's why this crowd is booing. Malone gets inside and he's hit, fouled by Garnett.
That's a very proud man, Karl Malone. He knows the game too. He did not do a good job. He got an early foul trouble. He knows how important it is to stay out there against Kevin Garnett after he played him to a standstill in game 1. We've seen a lot of pride coming back in that man here tonight in game 3.
And that's number 5 on Garnett. Timeout called. 6 minutes, 13 seconds to play in the fourth. Lakers in front by 11. Back at Staples in Los Angeles, the 2004 Western Conference Finals are being brought to you by Sky Sport, the new low-carb, ultra-premium malt beverage with the taste of citrus and cranberry. By Hyundai, when your car comes with America's best warranty, you win. Hyundai. By American Express, the official card of High Flyers. And by NikeBasketball.com.
We spoke in our open about how was Minnesota going to win tonight. They had to come with that fury defensively, get up the floor, disrupt the Laker offense like they did in Game 2. Look in Game 2, the numbers, 71 points. Shaq only had 10 shots at the basket, assist to turnover. Tonight, the Lakers have been very efficient. 83-point shot, over 50%, 27 assists, only 10 turnovers. They're plus 10 at the bench. They were plus 27 in Game 2. But Wally has 19 of the 21 bench points tonight. So the defense has not been there for Minnesota that we saw in Game 2.
And the T-Wolves were able to cut it down to a 2-point deficit twice. The last time late third. Lakers up 66-64. However, Minnesota with only 2 field goals the last 8.5 minutes. And our statistician Brian Taylor pointing out that Kevin Garnett without a field goal the last 14.5 minutes.
Well, Kevin Garnett is the main reason why in the last 3 years this Minnesota team is 7-5 against the Lakers, because his ability to move around, play different spots, and play from different areas on the floor has given the Lakers problems. Now, granted, game number 27 of the regular season is nowhere near the same as a playoff game tonight.
They surround Serbiak, and a foul is called. Foul on Bryant, that's his third.
And I think you see the presence of Karl Malone when he plays heavy minutes. Just his body playing up against Garnett will take its toll as the game goes on. Remember, this is a guy who missed a lot of Game 2 with fouls. He just wants to keep his body on Garnett to try to tire him down.
And then Malone ejected late in Game 2 for that flagrant. He said he was frustrated. NBA fined him $7,500 for the foul. Malone diving, coming up with the steal. Here's Payton with the step and try to give it up to O'Neal. Serbiak, Lakers 85 and the T-Wolves 74. It's 21 points now for Wally Serbiak.
Well, he's keeping them within striking distance.
Wally who's made it back from the back injury. It's been an injury-hit season. First, the displaced bone in his left foot. He missed 30 games. Bryant for 3. Kobe Bryant from downtown, extending to a 14-point lead. 16 for Kobe all in the second half. Serbiak, O'Neal got a piece of it. Here comes Payton. Bryant sets up from downtown. Yes. Well, Kobe very much back into it, and hearing it from this capacity crowd as he extended to a 17-point lead.
I think just a couple moments ago I heard somebody here say Kobe would be approaching the 20-point mark because of his greatness as a player. And this is a guy who wasn't even here in the first half, and suddenly he has 19 points on the board. He knows he's got it going right now. He steps back, gets set. He doesn't care who's around him. He sees nothing but the middle of that basket.
A 22-10 run by the Lakers. Only 2 shots in the first half. One was right at the end of the half with the 24-second clock running down. And here in the second half, 5 of 7, including 2 from three-point land.
But how about the efficiency? 19 points on 9 shots. I mean, he's got over 2 points for every shot he's taken. So he's gotten to the three-point line and hit, and he's gotten to the free throw line. I mean, he's... This guy now has finally gotten a smile on his face. I still say to start this game, he's out of sorts. We saw him get a technical. He's worked himself back into it. And once again, we see him smiling out on the court as his team has taken a 17-point lead.
There is Sprewell for 3. Lakers now lead 91-77. Bryant going at Serbiak. And he is fouled over the Candy, and Garnett came over to help.
I wonder what that must feel like to have that kind of talent, to know that you can just sort of ratchet it up and throw up 20 points in such a short period of time. You're talking about we still have 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go here. So that means he played about 16 minutes here in the second half and has 19 points. He might end up with 30 before it's all said and done.
My feeling has been in this series that the 5 starters for the Lakers, or at least 4 of the 5, must have good nights for them to beat this Minnesota team, because Phil Jackson can't count on the bench to come through and know each night what they're going to give him. Tonight you see all 5 starters in double figures for LA. In game number 2, which they lost, you had a couple starters missing in action.
Bryant has the last 8 points for the Lakers, looking ahead to game number 4 on Thursday as Garnett fires and hits from downtown. Kobe Bryant is scheduled for a court appearance in Eagle, Colorado. The Lakers expect that he will be back in time. It's a 6 o'clock start here on the West Coast, 9 o'clock Eastern time on TNT. And the call against the Lakers. Offensive foul. It is on Malone. That is number 5. Now look at the upcoming schedule. Game 4, Thursday here in Los Angeles. Game 5 back in the Twin Cities on Monday night. 13-point lead for the Lakers. Just under 4 to play in the 4th. There's Derek Martin for 3. Good play by Malone. The deflection did not work. Sprewell, yes, another 3 for Latrell Sprewell. So he has hit 2 in a row. He now has 12 points, and it's a 10-point game.
That's 3 straight threes on possessions. That gets you back into the game quickly.
3 threes the last minute for Minnesota. Oh, what a move by Bryant, breaking the ankles of Sprewell, but not able to hit. Sprewell cutting left, gets the step, and scores. What a move by Latrell Sprewell. So Latrell has brought the T-Wolves with an 8.
Well, he's hit his last 3 shots. He was 3 for 13, now 6 of 16. It looked like the Lakers were cruising with a 17-point lead, a 9-0 run, and they are right back in it.
Kobe Bryant put some dribble move on Sprewell at the offensive end of the floor. You see Sprewell lose his footing. He's got him back on his heels. Kobe's allowed to raise up eventually and shoot the 3-point shot. Misses that, so Sprewell comes right back, burns him with the layup.
Well, coming up on Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai, Ernie Johnson. Why, there's Ernie. Nice telestrators on. Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and Magic Johnson. They'll be along, post-game interviews and analysis. Looking at our game, Game 3 of this Western Conference Finals, and looking at tomorrow night's Indiana-Detroit matchup.
As soon as the ball was thrown in bounds, Matson grabbed Shaquille O'Neal. 1 second went off the clock. The reason for that is Minnesota had only 48 seconds remaining. Ball's passed inbounds. Now, there's the foul. He let the official know, because after 48 seconds, when it gets to the 2-minute mark, when you get below the 2-minute mark, if you take a foul away from the ball on a player, the Lakers will get to shoot 1 free throw attempt and get the ball back out of bounds on the side. In this situation, above the 2-minute mark, they get the 2 shots because it's bonus, and now the ball goes over to Minnesota.
And more importantly, if you foul Shaq off the ball, they get to put the guy they want to the line to shoot the free throw, so Shaq doesn't have to shoot it.
Shaq now 6 of, make it 7 for 20. And that stops the 8-0 Minnesota run. Lakers 94 and the Wolves 85 with 2:40 to play in the 4th quarter. Sprewell's had the hot hand here in the 4th. Lost it, but it was kicked. Kick ball called on Payton. They'll place 14 on the shot clock.
We'll see if it's a deflection or if it actually is kick. It's good call. The right leg kicks the ball.
That was a Pele-like kick. Down to 2:34 remaining in the 4th. Serbiak using the screen with a behind-the-back maneuver. Garnett. It was not the shot the T-Wolves were looking for. And there's Serbiak fouling O'Neal. Here the reaction from the crowd with 20 seconds remaining to hit that 2-minute mark.
Well, I spoke a little while ago about Shaq and his free throw attempts. His career high and a career high playoff for anybody is Shaquille O'Neal, 18 for 39. The guy who was coaching that Indiana team was Larry Bird. And at that point in time, he said, I don't believe in the hack-a-Shaq at all, but it was his only way for his team to stay in the game. And now they've got maybe, if you're Minnesota, can you get a shot up, a good one, before you get to that 2 minutes so you can foul him again? So clock management here is going to be vital for Minnesota.
Because you want possessions if you're Minnesota. The more possessions you get, obviously, the more chance you have to make up this deficit.
That time a softer touch. So the numbers are 8 for 22 for Shaquille O'Neal. 95-85 Lakers. Here's Garnett to the crossover. And on the turnover, Fisher came away with it. And Matson looking to foul O'Neal. They're not calling it. They will not call it.
They would not call it. They would not call it. Danny Crawford is right in front of him, and nobody's even guarding Kobe, but they would not make the call.
And Shaq is saying, call it. Kobe's point is saying, call it. And there's a three-pointer in the meantime.
Shaquille O'Neal is upset that they did not call the foul. So you have both teams upset with 1:45 remaining in this fourth quarter. It's now a 7-point game. And now they're playing it out. And the Lakers in no hurry. Shot clock down to 6. Picked off by Serbiak. It's a 3-on-2. Derek Martin from 3. Rebounded by Malone. That would have cut it to 4.
And that's Derek Martin in the game for defensive purpose. We have not seen Sam Cassell since he went out of the game. Obviously, that back tightened up.
And the Lakers, once again, using the clock.
And Flip Saunders saying that the ball goes to Shaq, foul him right away if they throw it to him.
Bryant forcing, but it's rebounded by Malone, and they get the new 24. Let's see what Flip does here. Flip is saying foul him. And there's a foul. Sprewell will put Bryant at the line.
At the 2:48 mark, you were talking about fouling away from the basketball. Shaq has not touched the ball on the offensive end since that point in time, because you know what they're going to do. So once it gets down to that point, it's very hard to throw him the basketball. That's why it's so important for Kobe Bryant to be the closer on this team, you know, because you put Shaq in a tough situation, Marv, when he's not shooting his free throws well.
He actually, at one point, was on a streak. He had hit 5 of 8. Now, overall, O'Neal is 8 for 22. But here's Bryant, who is 9 for 9 at the line.
We're going to go back a second now to when it was about 2:05 left on the clock. Matson realized I have only 5 seconds to foul. He's holding. He's calling to the official. There's a foul. I'm fouling him. Shaq is talking to the official. And there's Danny Crawford on the baseline kind of saying, play on. But you see Matson trying to take a foul there before it gets to the 2-minute mark.
Well, the question I have is, why didn't he call the foul? I mean, if it's a legitimate foul, that's within the rules. I mean, that's why the rule book is written that way. Why don't you make that call?
Right, that's not a judgment call on the part of the official.
That's correct.
All right, we'll be back in a moment. .6 remaining in this fourth quarter. And the Lakers lead the T-Wolves 96-88. Let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, we were questioning why the officials didn't call that foul when Mark Matson obviously was trying to tie up Shaquille O'Neal. But on the way down the court, Shaquille O'Neal knew he was going to get fouled, and he kind of initiated the contact. So the three officials who were watching the play were waiting to see if one of the two players was going to gain an advantage by the fact that they were fouling. Instead, they were both just kind of pushing each other. They didn't think either one was making an advantage. It's one of those things that's better not to make the call till later.
Mark Matson's looking at him saying, call the foul, I'm fouling him. I just think that he didn't make that call.
That was such an unusual moment as the player being fouled saying, I'm being fouled, and the player who's committing the foul saying, I'm committing the foul.
You got to love Shaq, though, because he's 8 for 22 from the line. You think he doesn't want to go there. He said, I want to go shoot my free throws.
And the foul on Garnett, and that is number 6. A very silent second half for Kevin Garnett. 22 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. That's a good stat line, but he was shut down in the second half.
It's a good stat line, but it wasn't an impact game. You know, Mark, for them to win, he has to play like the MVP.
Well,
and tonight he had a good game, but not a great one.
Only one field goal the last 20 minutes and 41 seconds by Garnett. Minnesota out of timeouts. Lakers have 2 and a 20, and they also have a foul to give.
Walton is a 70% free throw shooter for the regular season.
Lakers lead 97-88. We're down to 43 seconds to play. Game 4 here in Los Angeles. Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time on TNT. How about the Lakers? They've been to the line 22 times in this fourth quarter. 15 for 22. The foul on O'Neal, and they had a foul to give. So that's number 4.
I think that was Shaq saying, you know what?
That's a
I'm
foul.
tired of getting fouled. We got one to give. I'm going to use it before Phil Jackson takes me out of the game.
And Shaq hears it from the crowd. A standing ovation as he will sit down. 22 points, 17 rebounds. Replaced by the rookie from Illinois, Brian Cook. That's a push on Payton. Lakers now over the foul limit. So Latrell Sprewell will shoot 2.
I think as we look forward, Mike, to game 4, I think Minnesota is going to, if they're going to break through here, they've got to play much better defense. We didn't see any of the swarming and up the court, and the question I think is going to be Sam Cassell's health. We didn't see him much in the second half. And can they put the kind of defensive pressure on the Lakers in this building that they did at home?
You have to understand that there are different levels of intensity that come. Game 2 was almost a frenzy for Minnesota. Every dribble was people up into him trying to contest dribble. Every pass was denied. It was a different level of intensity, and that's what's hard to duplicate when you're on the road, because your home crowd gives you that extra little something.
And a foul is given to stop the clock. That'll put Walton back to the line. It's on Hoiberg. Luke Walton, the rookie from Arizona, second-round draft pick. Of course, the son of Hall of Famer Bill Walton.
And a very popular player on this team. He's really captured the veterans' respect. The way he's worked and the way he comes every day to do his job. They really have taken him under his wing and tried to teach him this game, and they like him here in Los Angeles.
Doesn't talk as much as his father. Oh, the steal by Fisher, spun around by Serbiak, and they nearly had words.
There's a reason for that, because about a minute and a half ago, Serbiak ran by Fisher on a cut, and when he did, he clipped him with an elbow. Fisher turned and spun, but Serbiak had already gone through to the other side of the floor. So here again, same 2 people involved, the steal and now the foul, and Fisher takes exception to that one.
Well, this goes back to the game on Sunday night in the fourth quarter.
It's when Wally stepped up and set a back screen on Fisher after that little segment that we had where things got so testy. And remember, when Payton came up and went face to face, and we see Kobe sit down, and it's a quiet 22 in the second half.
All 22 points in the second half. Kobe Bryant played 45 minutes, 5 of 12. That's a very low shot total for Kobe Bryant. He was 10 of 11 from the line and had 6 assists. But as we talked about earlier, Trent just checked in, firing one, final seconds. Kobe did not seem to have any energy in the first half. Was not looking for his shots. Took just 2, was scoreless, came on big in the second half, and certainly instrumental in this Laker victory as they have defeated the Timberwolves 100-89 to take a 2-games-to-1 lead in this best of 7. Shaquille O'Neal, the high man, with 22 points, 17 rebounds. Bryant also had 22. 18 points for Gary Payton, 14 of the 18 in the first quarter. Garnett with 22, Serbiak with 21. Let's go to Craig.
Well, Shaq, a great job by the entire team, all 5 starters in double figures, but at the end of the game, it seemed that Mark Madsen and Minnesota wanted to foul you, and despite the free throw percentage, you wanted to be fouled. Tell us about why they didn't call a foul and what your thoughts were.
You tell me why they didn't call a foul. You tell me. Mark sitting there telling the dude he's trying to foul me, but he didn't call it. I don't know.
It was indicated possibly on the way down the floor that you maybe had put it.
I'm the only dude in America that they say in the media they're going to foul me. The whole world know they're going to foul, but I don't get the call when I'm supposed to get the call. And that right there was an indication right there. He's fouling me right there, standing right there in front of the referee, but he didn't call it. So you tell me why he ain't called the foul.
Well, I thought maybe he thought you had initiated the contact, nobody was getting an advantage. But anyway, the point is, you had a bad free throw percentage, but you still had the confidence you wanted to go to the line.
I'm going to hit him when I need to hit him. My percentage wasn't pretty tonight, but I'm not going to miss them all. I'm not going to miss them all. And that's not going to work. It hasn't worked at all this millennium, and it's not going to ever work.
Karl Malone made no analogies to combat, but he did come to the arena tonight dressed in fatigues and said, I'm in for serious business. Talk about his demeanor and also the job he did defensively against Kevin Garnett to wear him down.
We played okay today, but we let them take them out. We let them take us out of our game. You know, we could play a lot better. You know, we got to get into our offense and, you know, shoot the ball a little better.
I wasn't privy to the game plan, but I'm sure it wasn't you and Kobe to combine for just 8 points in the first half. Kobe scoreless. What was said at halftime? Then to see him bounce back with 22. What was the difference in Kobe?
Well, you know, we wanted him to be a little bit more aggressive, and I've been telling the guys all year, you know, just throw me the ball. That's an ugly suit you got on, too. That's horrible.
Well, I'm sure Charles will stick up for me inside the NBA. Marv?
All right, thanks, Craig. Well, Shaq did hit 6 of his last 9 from the free throw stripe. 8 of 22 overall. So a 2-1 lead for the Lakers with game number 4 between the T-Wolves and the Lakers here on Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, right here on TNT. Thanks to our producer, Scooter Bertino, our director, Renardo Lowe, associate director, Kalen Wright, and production assistants, Jeff Paris and Tim McDermott. Our statistician, Brian Taylor. Again, the final score, Lakers 100 and the Timberwolves 89. We'll be with you Thursday night, game 4, 9 o'clock Eastern time from Staples here in Los Angeles. For the Czar, Mike Fratello, for Doug Collins, Craig Sager, and Shara Miller. This is Marv Albert saying good night from Southern California. Been watching the 2004 NBA playoffs on TNT, the exclusive home of the Western Conference Finals. Coming up next, inside the NBA. The guys will have all the post-game reaction from tonight's game. We bid you good night from LA.